On this week's episode, I talk about the body fat markers that I measure for optimal health. Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Lifestyle Construction Show. I'm Billy Weiss, the 21st Century Pharmacist, and I'm glad you're here today. We're going to talk about some very important markers that we look for at the beginning and the end of the program to determine if people are going in the right direction for optimal health, wellness, and fitness so that they can revive, thrive, and optimize. We use an InBody 570 machine that we measure every person that comes through our program the first week and then the end on week 12. And we want to make sure that we know what these markers are and why they're important. So I'm going to talk about 4 things today that we look for and give you some reasons why we look at them and why you should be concerned with where your numbers are. One of the first things that we look at is how well is each person that comes through the program hydrated. We actually can break it down with our InBody unit between intracellular and extracellular hydration. And the reason that hydration is so important, I've hit on before, is that the human body as adults should be 70 to 75% water. Water helps form our saliva and the fluid around our joints. Water keeps us cool when it's hot, when we're working out and we're sweating. So water serves a ton of purposes, but one of the big ones that water does is it helps hydrate our brain. Our brain requires water. And it helps regulate our metabolism so our bodies are able to burn fat more efficiently when we have the adequate water. And water can help the body flush toxins out. So all these things are very important. So we want to measure and make sure that everybody is well hydrated coming into the program, or certainly by the end of the program. The second marker that we look for is body fat percentage. Obviously, our body is made up of water, fat, and muscle. And we want to know how much of that percent of our body is made up of fat. Because the more our body fat percentage is, typically the more issues we have with our health. So we want to get people to an optimal body fat percentage. Now this is not just body weight. This is breaking the body down between fat and muscle. Because we want to have more muscle and less fat. That would be our goal for optimal health. So the third thing that we look at is lean muscle mass. Skeletal muscle mass is another word for it. So actually our machine will distinguish between how much of the body is made up of water, how much of the body is made up of fat, and how much of the body is made up of lean muscle. Carrying excess body fat can have some negative effects beyond what I've talked about earlier. For every pound we're overweight with fat, we actually increase the body's artery systems that the heart and kidneys have to work over 250 miles. So obviously this can cause the kidneys and the heart to have to overwork and can increase blood pressures. So there's a lot of reasons why we need to know where our body fat percentages are. Then we look at lean muscle mass or skeletal muscle mass. And why is this so important? Well, obviously the more muscle mass we have, the less body fat we have, which is always a good thing. More muscle mass means that we have better hydration levels. More muscle mass means that we're able to create more what's called mitochondria or ATP. And so we have more energy. And so it just means that we'll have more energy. And beyond that, the more muscle mass we have and the less body fat we have, of course our clothes fit better and we just look better, which is a good thing for most people that they want to achieve. And then the fourth thing that we want to look at is a little known fat called visceral fat. Visceral fat is actually the fat that is around our organs. Visceral fat is not fat we can see, and it's not fat that's just on somebody who's overweight. Visceral fat can be seen on even really thin people. In America, I've had a whole show about skinny obesity and how many Americans we have that look really thin on the outside, but they can actually have a lot of fat on the inside. And this visceral fat is the most dangerous fat of all because over 90 million Americans, it's estimated, have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And having fat around the liver can create a tremendous amount of workload on the body that we want to avoid if at all possible. The liver, of course, is a huge major detox organ for our body. The liver creates enzymes, and the liver does a lot of work for us, so it's very important that we take good care of our liver. And it is amazing to so many of the people who go through our program, when they see that visceral fat number, it just blows them away. They had no idea that they had fat around the organs that they couldn't see. But the good news is that when we remeasure people at the end of the program, most have significant reductions in their visceral fat, their body fat percentages, and those that we can get to follow our science-based exercise have increases in their lean muscle mass or their skeletal muscle mass. So these are 4 things that you can certainly talk to your gym or your physician to get these things measured, and we'll certainly be glad to help you measure these things. We have the unit and we have it available for anybody who comes through the program, but we also make it available for those who don't come through our program. So we would love to help you however we can so that you can be optimally healthy, well, and fit so that you can revive, thrive, and optimize. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and share this with friends and family that this could benefit. We suggest a digestive enzyme at the beginning of the meal, and we suggest a probiotic at bedtime.